maybe 5, 6 years. Why would you want me to accept 5% for 35 years? Do you understand? So it is a choice. Unfortunately for most of us, when we want to be president, we talk about the people. We talk to the people. We say, oh, you are the people, you are this and that. Once becoming president, we say, oh, the West is God. If I don't please the West, I will not rule for a long time. It's God. And as long as Africans turn their backs on God and their own people, this status quo is going to continue, unfortunately. You have countries that are massively rich in mineral resources. On a daily basis, billions of dollars are being taken out of those countries.
How would the question of living in a so-called globalized world, where you would need to work with partners in the world in terms of bringing in investment to help develop the natural resources, for example, how does it work in terms of working with other nations, investors, and just creating the so-called climate of conducive climate of investment opportunities for business and development?
Well, living in a globalized village doesn't mean that we should be, Africans should be subjected to servitude or being subservient to whatever. We are the punch bag of every Western dog, and it's unacceptable. Now, being in the Western, in the global village doesn't mean also that all the rest are bad. I'm not saying that all companies are bad. We have to make choices. Unfortunately, we subjugate ourselves to other powers and worship them, so they tell us who we should work with. This is where independence is very important. Let us believe in God and work within the global village, work with people that have a conscience and have moral values, and they know that this wealth belongs to Africans. Many times you might have heard the saying, oh, in fact, mainland China gives to African dictators without regard to human rights violation.
I was going to come to that.
And then they turn around the corner, run to China and say, if you don't bail us out, our tails are on fire. They talk about human rights violation, and at the same time, and anti-communism, anti-socialism, at the same time, they are the biggest borrowers of Chinese wealth. They think the Africans are stupid, but because China, the advent of China, mainland China in Africa, gives the Africans the latitude to choose who they want to. This is a threat to their hegemony, and so anything to discredit mainland China, they will do so. And then go back to mainland China and say, oh, we want this and that and that. If you understand what I mean. So, we have a choice. It's not only the West that exists. You have the East also. You have Northeast, you have the Gulf states, Asia, you have Asia, emerging powers, you have the BRICS as well. So we have a choice. But what is more important is to work with whoever. Also from the West, there are people with a conscience. I'm not saying that all the West are vampires. There are people that have a conscience, and they have always been standing up for African interests, but there are very few. But let us take control of our countries, our resources, and then from there we will decide who we want to work with. It's like you have a herd of cattle. You have only one buyer in the village who is always fixing the price, take it or leave it. And then all of a sudden you realize that there are 5 others, not in the village but outside, who are saying, oh, I'll come and negotiate the price with you. Okay, you say, oh, $10. I said, no. Why don't you reduce? I say, oh, no, but $10. I think that's the minimum I can accept. I say, okay. Because all the time they say, oh, but you're getting only $5. Now you're getting $10. Isn't that an improvement on you? Now, if the butcher is wealthier than the owner of the herd of cattle where he's buying the cattle from, then something is wrong. If you understand what I mean. When you look at other resources, agriculture for example. You look at cocoa or coffee. The companies that buy coffee from Africa, each of them is wealthier than all the African coffee producing countries put together. And they are buying their coffee and cocoa beans from Africa. And how much would it take you to, what does it take you to turn a bean into a coffee or whatever? It's just roasting. Anything else is just fake. So I spend all the year working on the farm, harvest it, wash it, dry it. But the world market is so powerful that they will tell you Africa, the fixed prices for Africa's raw materials, take it or leave it. Do you understand what I mean? Now, for example, they buy, maybe you'll be lucky for them to buy a kilo of coffee at $1. Or let's say, yeah, $1. Now, a kilo is 1,000 grams. You go to the supermarket after, you are the cocoa farmer, you want to drink coffee. You buy this 10 grams of coffee for $1. There's only one difference, that is they roasted it and processed it into something. Look at the difference. Look at the disparity. And they say, oh yes, Gambia, if you are producing coffee, because this country is accepting it, you also have to sell your coffee at 5%. And that is why buyers of African raw materials are wealthier than African producers of raw materials. And the status quo doesn't seem to change because nobody is challenging them. We take it for a fact that, Gambia accepted this, so I may as well accept it. I have seen a country where there are mineral resources. They have given an exploration license. And those are the countries where their leaders would never be.
50 years is a long time.
Their leaders will never be criticized. But no matter what they do, they are not corrupt, they are the Democrats, despite the fact that people are starving and dying in boats. These are the Democrats, these are the leaders of Africa. So, my dear, the solution to this is, the problem is with the African leaders, and so you should also be the solution. Let us work together. Africa should be united. You speak with one voice, the same way the European colonialists are speaking with one voice. If you are denied a visa today in to enter one former colonial